Hi and welcome to the channel. Now today's video is about ghetto blasters and boomboxes. Just my past experience. Hopefully I'm going to give you a few tips how to get a decent recording out of them, as well, to use this as a recorder and how to connect this up to your stereo, listen to the radio on your stereo, listen to the tape on your stereo, do some recordings on it, all that kind of stuff, and go through a few boomboxes I've had, my opinions of them kind of thing along the way, some tips. And it's another video for the channel. Now I'm really running out of ideas. I've said everything I want to say about hi-fi really that I've come across. Speakers I've had, units I've had, a few tips here and there. I can't keep repeating myself, but I haven't really mentioned a lot about these, and this is something that I kind of collected about 15 years ago. I'm going to show you a couple of little videos of mine of some units I had, and I did have quite a lot of units. I was picking these up and storing them everywhere kind of thing. I kind of concentrated on the Sharp model, so be kind of towards the Sharp, the Sharp GF range, but I did have a few others. Did have a Toshiba and a JVC, which sounded okay. They sounded pretty nice. I think it was a JVC one that sounded pretty nice, and I can't remember what number that is. But we're going to talk a few tips here about doing some recordings. We'll give you a demonstration of recording on this as well that I've made. I'm going to give you a few tips now. I don't know where to start really, but I thought I mentioned that it's about the tape ones really, because you do get these. These are a little bit more modern. These ones here, something like this. This Sony, also available in white. This white stuff goes off to a kind of creamy colour, but I thought this is quite a nice one. It's like an handbag kind of. If you look at it, it looks like a bit like an handbag, almost a handbag kind of thing, but it's got a CD player on the front, which I thought was quite cool. The way that worked, the mechanism on that, I thought was pretty good. I'll do that again just in case you didn't see it because they were a bit low. Press the eject and it kind of pops out like that, and we push our CD in there and close it up there. But also it does play tapes as well. If we spin it round, we've also got our tape mechanism now. If I can find the eject, that's where our tape goes. It was quite a neat little unit really, quite heavy as well. The only thing I didn't like about it is this silly little aerial at the top. Didn't quite like that, but other than that, if it was all white and everything, and in a bit better condition than this is not a bad unit, and it sounds pretty good as well. It's not too bad sounding either, but we're going to go away from that one. I just thought I'd mention that because I had it here. I'm going to put it down there, give my arm a rest, and we're going to concentrate a bit more on the GF, and this particular model here is the GF 8080. And the reason I got this, I mentioned in a previous video I think, is that this is the first ghetto blaster I bought when I was a kid. I must have been about 15 or 16 at the time, and we played this non-stop in the house, mainly ABBA tracks really on the cassette that I had at the time, while we was decorating around the house and that. And I'm going to show you a few clips later on of this. The Sharp GF 777 I had, which is probably one of the only grails of recorders now. At the time that cost me about 300 quid, and I think they go for about over £1,000 now, that's for certain. Going to touch on a few things. I'm going to tell you a bit about recording, how to connect it up, and what leads you should be using as well, if it hasn't got a variable control where you can where you can adjust the input control, because this here has got an automatic level control for recording. And if you're going to plug it into your CD player, well, you're going to get a really bad recording, but I'm going to tell you how to overcome that, so bear with me. But it's a bit all over the place this, but the reason I wanted this and kept it, obviously I've got a cassette deck I can do on a cassette deck. This is pretty handy as well. This covers a portable unit as well as playing some tapes, and it don't sound too bad through the speakers. It doesn't sound too bad through the unit. I will give you a thing, but I like getting these kind of mega mix kind of things, 70s, 80s, all that kind of stuff. And obviously I could put a CD together quite easy, just drag and drop, burn a CD, play it with a CD player, great. But I do like to have this little portability, this more going back to this kind of ghetto blaster kind of style things, and it's got more of an analog kind of sound to it as well. Playing through the tape, you're going to have that little bit of wow and flutter and all that. So that's the reason I don't mind doing a few cassettes, which we used to do many years ago. You used to stand there waiting for the top 40 to come on the radio here in the UK, and kind of judging it, pressing the tape, having it on pause and the record and play down, and as soon as he stops speaking, quickly lift it up to get that record and kind of guess where it's going to finish, and press it down, and you press it down and he don't stop, he carries on, the record carries on for about another 30 or 40 seconds, where you could have got a little bit more of that record without him talking. All that kind of stuff we used to do years ago. But I wouldn't mind doing a few compilation cassettes myself, and this gives a pretty good recording, to be honest with you, considering what it is. Let's take it into context, but considering what it is, it doesn't do a bad job at all. But what I thought I'd do first of all is show you a few of them I had, and kind of tell you what I thought of them now. The ones I had many years ago, I had quite a collection, but the ones I can actually remember and got a video of here, is the Sharp GF8080, sorry, the Sharp GF8585, so there's a very, very quick clip of that. Now that was the Sharp GF8080, sorry, the Sharp 8585. Now you'll probably notice that I had this little cassette in there, this thing flashing, and this is like they do a Bluetooth version of this now, but this is a cassette where you can plug an SD card into it, but they do a Bluetooth version now. Plug your SD card, you put it in the machine, press play, and it plays, and that's handy for any cassettes you've got that the play spindle's not playing, so it will play off of this instead. This just touches the heads and transfers the music across. But if you've got an auto stop, which some of these have, then it's not going to work, because that play needs to turn around, because it turns another mechanism inside on a little magnet normally, pardon me, that will let you know it's playing, and if it's not playing, it thinks it's come to a stop, it's going to ping up. But on them machines I had, this worked fine, and I find what I did with this, you'll get it, and it's got some spindles inside, which looks like a normal cassette. I actually undone them and took the spindles out, and I felt it worked better that way. It didn't trigger the auto stop so much and all that kind of stuff. For me, it just worked better that way. So anyway, it's one of these little things. I knocked here about £10–15, something like that, if you've got some cassettes that are not working properly. Now, a lot of these, before I show you any of the others I got and talk a little bit more about connecting it up and how to get a good recording out of it, is that obviously you're going to need to clean these up. This is a fairly easy one to get inside fairly easy with the heads and give it a clean. We can change the belt pretty easy in this one. This is a pretty easy one to change the belts with, and it seems to have kept itself in good, you know, the rubber around the actual rubber cogs inside, I forgot what they're called now, but you know what I'm on about, all the other little spindles inside the cogs, and the rubber around them seem to be in really good shape. Now you're going to get somewhere it's all tacky and sticky, so be careful if you're buying any of these. Be very careful, because you're going to have so many different problems with these. The belts need changing for one. Like I say, these other spindles and that inside that have got rubber around them, capstans and all that kind of stuff, that rubber may be perished, so you're going to have to try and get in there even further to replace them. And quite a few of these, especially when we go to the Technics cassette decks, but even these Sharps have got plastic cogs inside that are on a metal spindle, plastic cog, and over the years that plastic gets so brittle that it starts clicking, click, 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 as it's playing. A typical Technics cassette deck, really. That seems to be the main culprit, but there is some Sharps that do this, and I think the next model, which I will show you in a minute, is the 9090, is another one prone to this, that them cogs can go, and you're in a bit of a problem if you can't fix them yourself, so be a bit careful, don't pay too much for these. Now these ones I had before 15 years ago, and they all had problems 15 years ago, so this is 15 years on, so a lot of these have got problems, but this one seems to be a good runner. It seems to be like the one that kind of breaks the mould and continues to play no matter what, even though I had the original belts in here when I got it. I changed them and the original belts were still working all right. Just going to show you the 9090, my favourite. This is the 9090. Yeah, that's the 9090. It gives a really good sound, the 9090, I thought. And I had the 9091. I'm going to show you the 9092 very quickly. Okay, yeah, I felt the 9090 was the better sounding unit I had. I had the 555, I had the 777. I'm going to show you the 777 in a minute with the not this actual model, but the same model, but not the actual machine sitting on top of it that I had many years ago. Like I say, that machine commands quite a lot of money these days. The 4 big speakers at the front, the 2 cassette decks in there, commands a lot of money, a bit of an icon really, but sound wise it's okay, nothing special at all. Paying a lot of money for the sound you're getting out of it. I felt the 9090 done a really good job, and that is my favourite cassette out of all the ones I had, and I probably had 20 or 30 at the time. That would be my favourite. I just think that had the nicer tone to it and everything else. But let's just show you that 777. So there you go, even had the stickers at the front and everything, looked quite nice, didn't it? Did look the part, I must admit, and I wish I never got rid of it. I think I paid about £300, it was about 240 quid, something like that, from Japan. It was about another £60 import duty at the time. And I did sell that a good few years ago now, probably about 15 years ago, I only probably had it a year, and I sold it to my mate for the £300 I paid for it, and he kept hold of it for a couple of years, not probably 3 or 4 years in his bedroom, and I think he got about £800 for it in the end, something like that. So he did pretty well out of that, considering the short amount of time he had it. But it was a nice machine, but again, that didn't work properly. You probably see that I had one of these cassettes in it. It did play, did rewind and that, but it was quite a lot of wail and flutter, a bit all over the place, that machine was at the time. So I played this, it's more constant with this obviously, and yeah, so it needed some work done to it, but it still got a reasonable price for it back then, or a good price for it back then, I think, considering it weren't working 100%. The bloke come from miles to pick it up, so the bloke obviously knew that, so it got up in price. But there you go. So now I'm going to give you some clues about, I'm going to give you a demonstration, but I'm going to show you how to record stuff as well on these properly. So let's just give you a demonstration here. This is a little track off of YouTube. And also, I'm going to let it play a little bit, but I'm going to show you the APSS as well, where what you do, you play and you just press rewind or forward fast, it goes to the next track. So I'm going to play it, then make it automatically rewind back to the next track. So let's get it playing. Okay, had enough of that. Got to give you an idea. I only got a tone control. I've got the tone full on to get as much treble out of it as possible. It doesn't do a bad job at all. You know, it's not bad. It's very, very passable, I would say, for them. We're not going to pay a fortune for one of these. Easy to replace the belt, so you know, a machine I kind of recommend definitely. But if you want a better sounding machine, probably a machine you're going to pick up with, have a few problems with though, really, is the 9090. That was my favourite of all the Sharp ones I had, which I did have quite a lot. But anyway, we're going to talk about recording now. I recorded this off a CD. That recording there you heard was off a CD, so it all works nicely now. As I said, I changed the belts, but to record that, I've plugged this in the side. This is a 5 pinned in to a 4 phono or RCA lead, and 2 of these would be the input and 2 would be the output. So I think as it actually works on this particular lead, let's get it right. This is the output, this will be left and right output, and this will be left and right input. So I'll plug the CD into here. Now what I'm going to say is, if you just got your CD player and plug the phonos into here, and you put this on tape and you press play and record, and you set up your CD, play, and it's going to record it. But only one problem with this has got an automatic level control, and it's going to record it with distortion, with a lot of distortion, because it's too much signal going in. The CD players was not about when these were about, and they give out quite a high voltage peak to peak, and these can't handle it. They cannot handle it if you've got an automatic level control, so you're in a bit of a problem. You're not going to get any recordings off your CD directly into here. There is a way of fixing that, but also if you had I think the 9090 and a few other models I had, it did have level controls where you could also, you know, rather than use the automatic, you can adjust the levels yourself. So now you can bring them down, you'll have no problem at all recording off a CD. But in this particular case, I've got a problem, but I still managed to get a really good sound out of it. So what I use is this, and I do bang on about these quite a bit, and I've had one person who's come around my house here that's actually got a set of these, and he said these are a must-have, you know what I mean? And I think they're a must-have. I keep touting them, and not many people take much notice. Well, fair enough, but these are a must. These are called attenuation leads, or you can buy a little attenuator already packaged up, or you can make a lead or buy a lead yourself. Now, if you buy a lead, they're quite expensive. They're probably going to set you back about £30 or £40 for a pair of these. I made these myself. I'm going to leave a link up the top to the video. Fairly straightforward to make, and will make a difference if you've got a CD player and you're plugging it in to any vintage hi-fi receiver or amplifier, because what you're going to do, you're going to attenuate the signal, and the distortion is not going to creep in, which it did show much so on my Pioneer. I think it was the SX2000, I think it was. That unit was a totally different receiver. 1 minute with normal leads plugged in, it was absolute rubbish, and all of a sudden plug the leads in and it wasn't a bad receiver at all. So there you go. It did make that was the one I noticed it the most, but you will notice it, but I do notice it on other units, and whenever I'm testing stuff out, I always use these leads, and I would like to say the videos at the top to do the attenuation. Now I'm going to show you a little video here of the lead connected, me doing the recording, and the lead not connected, me doing the recording. It's got no sound coming out, but we're just going to watch this little meter here go backwards and forwards. There's not a vast amount of difference, to be honest with you, because I don't think this meter is sensitive enough to pick out the difference. But let's show you without the lead, you know, with a normal lead, which is somewhere around here, just a normal lead connected. Let's just show you that video. Now that was just with a normal lead like this, just a typical lead. Got tons of them, tried quite a few. They're all the same. There's no resistance, nothing in between. There's a straight signal path, no problem at all. You're going to get whatever you've got one end go completely out the other end, exactly the same. And when you come to play it back, that actual track is going to have a load of distortion and sound terrible. You're going to think, what's happened to my cassette deck player? It's not working right. It needs a service. It needs sorting out. It doesn't. It just needs one of these. So I'm going to show you the same recording again, the same track I've done off the CD with this lead. I don't think you're going to make much difference. No, it's much difference, but I'll show you anyway. I've done the recording, so why not show you? Okay, I don't know if you notice the difference or not. I don't think this meter is sensitive enough. It's quite small. It's not quite sensitive enough. It's not quite got the range. It's compact. If it was a bigger meter, I would have seen more of a range, and we would have seen the difference there, I think. But your ears will be the judge of that, I think, because there's a vast amount of difference. So I'll just play that track again. This has got no distortion or nothing like that, where before it was just tons of distortion. Okay, so don't forget you can use this as a normal radio. You haven't got a tuner in your house, nothing like that. Just get this lead, plug it in the back, there on the side actually, in the 5-pin socket. Put your old radio on and plug this into your hi-fi, and you can listen to the radio as well. It may not be the best radio in the world, but if you haven't got one, it's going to be a vast amount of difference, that's for certain, from not having one to having one. It's the same with the tape. Put the tape in and you can get the tape output through your stereo. Now I think this goes up to 15 kilohertz using metal tapes, I think it says. And if you buy any cassette player these days, if you look around it, I think it's a new one coming out actually. It does MP3s and all that kind of stuff, and Bluetooth and all that. It's a black one, I can't remember, 2 little meters. A new one coming out, I think it's about £299 or somewhere around there anyway. And even that cassette deck only goes up to 12,500, so it underperforms this. This would be a better cassette deck. Even though it's old, it's going to sound better using the tape because it's going to go up to higher frequencies. And don't forget, some of these probably went up to 16 or 17 if you went up higher in the model range. But for what it is, like I say, this 8080 ain't a bad unit at all. It's a nice sturdy unit. Something like I say these days, I did mention before that if you went out and bought this new, this would cost you £300 no doubt these days. So that's it. Hopefully you've got a couple of tips. I wanted to bring another video, and it's not a bad one because there is people around that are still into cassettes, still into buying one of these ghetto blasts, boomboxes, not a bloom box, doesn't give any flowers, boomboxes, and obviously you can get a little MP3 adapter or something like that as well, like maybe one of these, or Bluetooth version of this, so you can plug it in there, press play and do it on your phone kind of thing, or just put an SD card in there if you didn't want to make up a cassette yourself, or you could probably just get a normal Bluetooth adapter and plug it in the side. On this particular unit, the only entry point here is actually this. We have got microphone and that, but they'd be too sensitive, so you won't be plugging it in there, so you would only be plugging in this. In other boom boxes to look out for is maybe just an input. You may have a phono input where you can actually plug in 2 phono leads. Some of them have got them at the front, you'll see them at the front where they've got a phono input, so you can plug in a Bluetooth adapter or something else into that, maybe your CD player. But remember, you're probably going to need that attenuated lead doing recordings anyway. You may get away with it if you just put it, if some of these have got an auxiliary on them as an input and you press it auxiliary, which this hasn't, and you're just listening to your CD player maybe through the auxiliary. You may get away with it, but on recording on these boxes that have got an automatic level control, particularly this one, but I'm always certain all of them, you're going to need that attenuated lead. And once you get that, you're going to go, oh, this sounds fine now, this sounds great, Mick, thanks very much, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that is it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.